Hello, people. It's celebration time for the people in the One Piece fandom. 20 years ago to the day, we got the very first episode of One Piece. And now here we are, 906 episodes later, getting a side story that could have been the plot point for the series. And as you noticed in the beginning of the episode, the narrator pretty much said it's its own separate story. Like it's not connected to the main one. Obviously, with certain things that got revealed in this episode, it's technically considered filler, I guess, to the casuals. But if you don't know, Oda actually is a pilot of Oda that never got published by Toei. They scrapped it and said, no, not for us. And instead, what we got was the main story of One Piece. So it's weird how things play itself out. Here we are, 906 episodes later, and they're publishing the side story that never was. Art imitating life, pretty much. And the first thing that's kind of, I wouldn't say it was shocking, was kind of a surprise, is like they didn't have the original opening "We Are" for the 20th anniversary. I figured they might do that, but when you consider the fact that this episode wasn't connected to the main story, maybe that's the reason. But even so, it would have been a cool homage to like the 20 years of One Piece, to have some of the best moments in the opening. They've done this before with the opening of the episode of Skypiea. They had all the moments ending by Nami Amori sang her final song for One Piece. So that would have been a great homage, but they didn't do that, and it's not a big deal. But I thought they might go that route. Immediately, the way that things start off, obviously the direction of the story, Luffy on a boat, and immediately he's like sleeping. He wakes up, and then he hears a bird getting shot, and we come to find out that bird is a balloon who's connected to Anne, the main female of this episode. So that's pretty cool how things tie itself out. It has some cool homages to like the actual series if you pay attention to it. So Luffy's like trying. So the bird actually pierces through the boat that Luffy was on. So to stop it from sinking, he puts the bird's ass on to cover the hole up. So that's typical Luffy, right? Everything about his design and his mannerisms are the same, but his goals and aspirations and his past are completely different. It's funny. Like he's still an idiot, and it's what's really fascinating is you go back in time, even this version of Luffy, and you see the development and how Luffy's matured over the years. It's something else. Even though it's a separate story, it's still Luffy. It still has the same devil fruit. It still has the same like mannerisms. His personality is kind of like similar. So come across a ship who's a pirate crew who's under the jurisdiction of Spiel, the main villain of this episode, and we come to find out that Anne was also kidnapped because of this bird balloon. So Luffy, nonchalant about the situation, he gets asked to bring the bird along, and he does. And we come to find out that Anne was actually captured for this reason, some special rare blood. That's the reason why it was, I guess, magical blood. That's the reason why it was captured. Oh, Spear was looking for the bird, I guess, the balloon. So Luffy brings it aboard, making the situation worse. And then Spear actually says to Luffy, name your prize. And Luffy not knowing anything about the situation, Luffy's like, oh, your face is weird, your hair is weird, like typical, right? I think he said the same thing to Buggy, like your big red nose, right? So it's typical Luffy and sort of someone on their appearance. He did it with Pika, and he triggered him, and he did it with Buggy as well. So, like I said, it's cool homages to Luffy being Luffy. Because of that, they both end up getting locked up. Luffy and like I said, Luffy made the situation worse by going through this. So we get the side story and the aspirations of Luffy that never was. So right away we find out that Luffy's goal, which we know is not the case in this original series, because he wants to become king of the pirates. So that's different. The second thing is how he attained the devil fruit and who had the devil fruit, the gum gum fruit. So the Gama Gama no Mi. So right away we find out that Garp is not a marine; he's a pirate. Luffy wanted to become one just like him, so that was interesting. The fact that Garp is a pirate in any capacity is definitely strange. It's like a Twilight Zone strange. So with the changes that we got in this episode, with Garp being a pirate instead of a marine, of Luffy wanting to become a peacemaker, being completely different from being the king of the pirates, and obviously Anne being at least the main female. Can you imagine how much different the story would have been had they've gone
with this original idea of Oda back in the day instead of what we got now, how much different would the series have been? Really?
Not only the devil fruit from God, but also the straw hats. So, and there's no mention of Shanks. There's no mention of obviously Goldie Roger. So this is a completely separate story. It doesn't even feel like One Piece in a way, even though we know it is. Anyway, we get the backstory of how Luffy ate the gum fruit. He just took a bite out of it, where when Shanks had the devil fruit and he was looking, Luffy ate the whole thing, like out of frustration. Here, Luffy just took a chunk out of the gum fruit. So, and then we don't see what his abilities are until present day. Even then, it's kind of kept a secret, because immediately also cut to like Balloon. I guess Anne and Balloon's connection, and Balloon's and Anne pretty much says Balloon was with her since a child, so she definitely has the personality and the design physically of Nami. So that's, she says like, oh, Balloon's my treasure because he's been there since the beginning, so that's kind of cool. Luffy says his hat's the treasure, so, and that's where I guess we get the connection between Anne and Luffy. I don't know if people are going to ship them because it's not connected to the main story, but be that as it may, it's still a thing. And like I said, though, keeping his abilities are a secret, even in this episode, even though we know what they are. So he gets the keys, gets them out of prison, and Anne's like, you need to help me out. Luffy's like, no, I'm going to get a boat. I'm out of here. So typical Luffy. Although I think Luffy was actually made warm-hearted when it comes to like the actual series we got. So how Luffy appeared in this episode, kind of like cold-hearted, like a pirate. And then Anne was like, yo, I'm going to do this myself anyway. So Spiel's crew is asleep, so typical villains, right? Fodder. She tries to unlock the cage and free Balloon, but instantly stopped by Spiel, who's like, she gets stopped by Spiel, who's like, I won't let you free a bird. You need to fight it, have a 1v1. So that's kind of cool. We get to see what she can do in a fight. You win this fight and I'll free her, which is a complete lie. But then Luffy finds a boat, and then he stumbles on the scene later on. So let's see what Anne can do. She knows how to use a sword apparently, so that's pretty cool. She won the fight, but then obviously Spiel didn't keep his promise, and he threw the subordinate, the father, right over. He has like a psychic ability. It's like he can manipulate his opponents and throw them overboard. So that's what he was doing here. It's like the current Luffy that we know. He would have been pissed, just the way Spiel was acting towards his own crew. Remember how Captain Kuro was acting towards his own crew, and how Luffy got pissed off by that? Yeah, that's completely different. Anne tries to free Balloon, she gets shot in the arm. So another homage or Easter egg was when Nami gets hit by Django's a spinning disc. Back in the day, she took the shot for Luffy. She actually took a shot trying to help out Luffy. So it's kind of like a similar Easter egg here with Anne getting shot in the arm. She's acting along so she can get an opportunity to free her, but Luffy stumbles on the scene. He's like, why are you lying down? Shot. Like, obvious. And Anne's like, I obviously got shot in the arm. Spiel's like, he actually shoots Luffy because of his double fruit abilities. Doesn't work. Very similar. And Luffy kind of like reveals like, oh, I got this by eating the devil fruit, the gum fruit. But then Spiel takes this opportunity, says, I'm not sticking around. So I'll shoot the boat. You guys can drown. I'm taking the bird. And this is where we get the touching part of the story, or the episode. He flies off, and then the boat goes down. The boat sinks. Luffy's about to drown, and then Anne saves Luffy. So that's pretty cool, because obviously he can't swim if he hasn't dealt for it. So Anne saves its life. Luffy tears up because I don't know if Luffy would have done that in the beginning stages, like this current Luffy, but like I said, it's the Twilight Zone in One Piece. So, and then this is where Anne brings up, like, I like her reasoning in the beginning when she says, oh, they locked me up because I'm cute. That's a typical response that Nami would have thrown in there back in the day. You know that. So they had the mannerisms, design, labeled after Nami. It's just a different character. But then her reasoning becomes a lot more logical, a lot more real. He blames herself because if he was, or blames the fact that he's a rare bird, and if he wasn't, he wouldn't have been targeted. So, and she wouldn't have had to endure all of this. Luffy starts like, this isn't over yet. You're gonna get your friend back. So I'm gonna sort this thing. Finally acting like Luffy, and then soars off into the air, and then takes out Spiel with a gun punch. I love how he rode on the bird and then just actually not KO'd Spiel. It was a one shot, as you would expect. It's funny how Luffy could have done that in the beginning, but they just need to keep the suspense going throughout the episode. And it's typical old school One Piece vibes. Like just the way that Luffy got locked up by Buggy by having Nami trick him back in the day. It's like Luffy could have gotten himself out of some situations if it were for certain circumstances. So that's kind of funny to me. Certain stuff that I noticed, even the eye catchers, like the old school eye catchers in place, you got Luffy and you got Anne in the eye catcher. So obviously it's so separate episodes, separate story. But I love how they're using old school things to make this episode feel special, like an actual anniversary. Luffy sets off and departs. Like, I hope you come back, Peace Mania, and how the episode ends. It doesn't. By the way, this is the only time I can recall we never got a to be continued screen in One Piece ever. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think we've ever had that. Like, this is just a one episode thing. It's to celebrate 20 years of One Piece. There's a lot more to be excited about. We've got One Piece Film Stampede coming out in US theatres all over the world. I believe it's actually coming out in Scotland too today. So that's crazy. That's going to be good to witness. But obviously this is a different episode, different vibe on One Piece altogether. Then we go to the preview, and it looks like we're going back to Wano, as I mentioned before previously. It's going to be interesting with Law reuniting with the crew, with Luffy and Zoro. And we've got a monstrous reveal that's going to set the stage for Remainder of Wano at once. So I can't wait for that. But let me know what you guys think about this episode. Different in every sense of the word. So that's going to do it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Like this review if you did. Subscribe to the channel for more One Piece. Leave your comments down below. Thanks, guys. Bye.